guys, Bobo here. This week we are back with another sword and buckler lesson. And we're starting this one by focusing on a very fundamental combo. Thrust high, cut low. This might be a simple one, and you can find it in many sources, even outside of sword and buckler. But I think it's very important to develop a good feel of how you are able to deliver it, and good flow, purely mechanical, on how to transition from a thrust high to a cut low. And this is what we're focusing at first. A key here is to actually make the thrust believable, which means that from time to time I just let the thrust land, or I pressure it a little bit so she knows that I am active and has a real intention in her actions. Only this will make it really effective when you're facing an opponent who is not going to be playing the game as you want him to. Next, we're upgrading the game. We have two options now. We can thrust high and cut low, or we can cut low and thrust high. Now, I'm naturally more confused because I don't know what to expect and I have to react differently. For me as a defender, it should be simple. If she cuts low, then I'll expect a high thrust. If she thrusts high, I expect a low cut. But it gets more complicated for me. And it gets more interesting for her because she has two options to explore with different order, different flow between them. And we are gonna push these as much as we can. And I'm happy to see that she did very well with the thrusts. Cut low, thrust high is also very effective, especially when you're fencing someone who is used to the basic form of the combo. Okay, we're leaving these types of exercises behind and moving to another very basic one, attack on prep. The attacker just lifts the arm in some direction and the defender has to cut to the arm and potentially parry and deal with the afterblow if there is any. In the beginning I'm just finishing the blow and not really trying to hit with it, and I give some time for her to react and get into the flow of things. And again, I'm trying mostly cuts from high, from left, right, and from the top directly in the beginning. But then later on, we move on to a little bit more cuts from the side, from below, from the left, and from the right, and that makes things a lot more complicated for her. As you can see, we're switching between weapons. Specifically, I'm staying with the sidesword, but she's switching between her sidesword and between her light arming sword. And this is because she's still wondering if she should use the sidesword more or the arming sword. Sadly, there are no appropriate 5-fingered gloves in smaller sizes. So she will probably go with the arming sword in the upcoming tournament in Croatia. And this is it. We're doing this exercise ad nauseum with not as much variation as we could. We're pressing a little bit on the footwork so she can move back and deal with that issue. But otherwise, nothing complicated is happening. And finally, in the end, as always, we finish with a nice spar. Enjoy, and thank you.